Good morning, class 5 students. So today I'm going to teach you chapter 3 grammar, transitive and intransitive verbs. Now let's go on for revision. In the previous class you did, you know that a sentence can be divided into two parts, right? The subject and the predicate. So to find the subject of a verb, we ask the question who or what. Now to find the subject of a verb, we ask the question who or what plus the predicate. The answer to that question tells us who or what the subject is. Okay, who or what the subject is. Now let us see. You have also been told that we shall use the word subject to refer to the simple subject, subject word or subject words. The predicate must contain a finite verb. Now, the predicate must contain a finite verb. It may consist of a finite verb only. Now let us see the examples. Boys play. Subject is boys. The predicate is play. Again, boys are playing football. Subject boys are playing football is the predicate. So the predicate often consists of a finite verb and other words. Now let's go to subject plus subject and verbs. Look at the following examples. Kalyan wrote an essay. This old man sells flowers. The terrible flood will destroy all the crops. Now who plus wrote an essay? Predicate. Answer Kalyan. Who wrote an essay? Kalyan. Kalyan therefore is the subject of the verb wrote. Okay? The verb is wrote. So who's the subject? Kalyan. Kalyan wrote an essay. Oh, therefore, so who sells flowers? The old man. Okay? The old man. Therefore, the subject of the verb is sells is man. Now let's go to the next page. Now, what plus will destroy all the crops? Predicate. Answer the terrible flood. The terrible flood. So, flood is the subject of the verb will destroy. Yeah. Now, if you look at sentence A, B, and C carefully, you will notice that in each of them, the subject itself does, or will do something. Okay? The subject. What are the subjects? Kalyan. Kalyan wrote. He did something, right? He wrote an essay. Then the old man. He's the subject. So what did he do? He sold flowers. Then the terrible flood. What did the terrible flood do? It destroyed all the crops. So in the verb tells us what Kalyan did. In B, the verb tells us what the old man does. In C, the verb will destroy tells us what the flood will do. So the person or thing which did, does, or will do something in the subject of the verb. In other words, it is the subject which acts. The subject of the verb which acts, which does some things. Now look at the same sentences written in a different way. Now the essay was written by Kalyan. Now the same sentences which is done in a different manner. Let's go and see. The essay was written by Kalyan. Flowers are sold by this old man. All the crops will be destroyed by the flood. Now look at the difference here. Again, to find the subject we ask. To find the subject, what do we ask? What plus what was written by Kalyan. Now answer, what was written by Kalyan? The essay. So essay is the subject of the verb was written. Now what are sold by this old man? Answer, what the old man sold was flowers, right? So flowers therefore is the subject of the verb are sold. Now what will be destroyed by the floods? So crop is the subject of the verb that will be destroyed by the floods. So can you tell the difference between the sentence A, B and C and sentence D, E and F? In D, the subject essay did not do anything. Now over here the subject is the essay, flowers and the crops. In the other one, the subject was Kalyan, old man, and the flood, and they did something. But here, the subject is essay, which did not do anything. The subject flowers does not do the same thing, did not do anything. The crops did not do anything either. Somebody else, something else did it. So these subjects do not act. Something is done to them. Okay, they did not do anything. Something was done to them. Over there are acted upon by somebody or something else. You must therefore remember that just as verbs may be used to tell us what some persons or things do, they may also be used to tell us what is done to some persons or things. Now, these we must remember that just as the verbs must be used to tell us what some persons or things do, okay, before this they exercise. Now over here they also can be tell us what is done to persons or things. Let us turn the page. Now, a verb may not refer to an action. It may simply tell us what a person or thing is. Okay, like the rose is red. Okay, what is the rose? The rose is red. London is a big city. Kunal is very lazy. So it is just telling us what a person or thing is. Like the rose is red, like London is a big city, Kunal is very lazy. Now transitive verbs. Now you have to be listen carefully here. When the subject of a verb acts and the action affects another person or thing, that is somebody or something different and separate from the subject, that person or thing is called the object of the verb. In other words, the action starts from the subject and ends with the object. Now, translative words are when the subject or the verb acts and the action affects another person or thing, okay, which is different from them. So, in other words, the action starts from the subject and ends with the object. Means the subject just does something to the object. Let us see here. Farmers till the soil. Jack kicked the ball. Now see, the subject is doing something to the soil. What is doing is tilling the soil. Now Jack kicked the football. Now Jack has done something here. He has kicked the football. Father will clean the table. Father is going to do something to the table, right? So he's going to clean the table. So in J, the farmer's action tilling affects the soil, a thing different and separate from the farmer themselves. The farmer and the soil is totally different. So we can also say that the action of tilling passes from the farmers to the soil. So soil is the object of the verb till. So which is the object? Soil, because the soil was done something to by the farmer. Now similarly, in K, Jack's action of kicking affected something separate and different from Jack himself. What was that? The football. So football is the object of the verb kick. Now in I, father's action of cleaning will affect a thing that is separate and different from father himself. Father is going to clean what? The table. So table is the object of the verb will clean. Now let us see here. A verb which has an object is known as a transitive verb. Remember, a verb which has an object is known as a transitive verb. To find out whether a transitive verb has an object, we ask the question, what or whom? Now remember this, it's very important. To find out whether a verb has an object, we ask the question, what or whom after the verb. Farmers till what or whom? You see, till is the verb here, so we ask the question, farmers till what? Answer is soil. Jack kicked what? He kicked the football. Father will clean what? What will father clean? So these are the verbs. After the verbs, you ask the question. You see, table. So if you ask these questions after the verb, Then you'll find out whether it's a transitive verb or an intransitive verb. Let's go to the next one. So, soil, football, table are objects of the verb till, kicked, will clean. Here are some more examples. Sushma ate an apple. Now, what did Sushma do? Sushma ate what? Answer, apple. He drives a car. He drives what or whom? Drives what or whom? Answer, car. So you see, you ask the question after the verb. I shall sing. Sing what? Answer, song. So apple, car, song are objects of the verbs ate, drives, shall sing. It is very important to remember that, as in all the above examples, the object has to be somebody or something different from the subject himself or subject itself. So it is very, very important to remember that the object has to be different from the subject itself. Secondly, as in the case of the subject, the object may have other words qualifying it, like J, K and L, or A and, as in am, M and O. We usually use the word object to refer to the object word or object words, not to these qualifying words. It must be remembered, however, that the object may in many cases consist of words which cannot be separate from one another. That is, they act as a single unit. See chapter 9 and 10. When you go there, I will teach you more. Now, intranslative verbs. Just now I taught you translative verbs. So let's go to intranslative verbs. Often the verb simply tells us something about the subject itself, what it does. Okay, intranslative verb tells us what the subject it does, what it is or what it is like. The action described of the verbs does not affect some other person or thing. Now here, the action of the verb does not affect another person or thing, but in translative verbs, it affects another person or thing. It stops with the subject here. Now let's see. The dog barked. Now if you ask the dog barked at whom? There is no answer here. Birds fly. Birds fly where? No answer. John will play. John will play with whom? So, you see, farmers, let's go to the previous one. Farmers till the soil. Farmers did something, right? The dog barked. The dog barked at whom? There's no. So this is intransitive. So there's no object here. In P, the verb bark simply tells us something what about the dog, the subject itself. It does not tell us how the subject action affected another person or thing. The verb bark therefore has no object. The dog just barked, but he barked at whom or did nothing. It doesn't tell us. Similarly in Q, we are told something about the subject itself. The action of the flying does not pass from birds to some other thing or person. The verbs fly therefore has no object. Let's go to the next page. This is a long chapter, so just bear with me. In R, the verb will play does not affect any person or thing other than the subject itself. The action of play stops with John, the subject. So the verb will play has no object. Now, remember this. Now remember this. A verb which does not have an object is known as transitive, intransitive verb. Right? A verb which does have an object or affects an object is the transitive verb. But this one, you see, a verb which does not have an object is known as intransitive verb. Now let's look at these examples. The man looks ill. The man looks what? The journey will be difficult. The journey will be what? Whom? Javed became a doctor. Javed became a what? In each of these cases, we ask the question what after the verb. We seem to get an answer, right? The man looks what? Ill. Answer. The journey will be what? Difficult. Answer. Javed became what? He became a doctor. Now, but if you look at the answers carefully, we find that each of them tells us something about the subject. You see, it's telling us something about the subject here. It's not affecting anything or being done something to something or somebody, but it's telling us about the subject here. You see, the man looks ill. The journey will be difficult. Javed became a doctor, and does not refer to somebody or something that is different and separate from the subject. It's talking about the same thing. It's not talking about something different. So ill, difficult, doctor are really not objects. Okay, remember this. You may think it's an object, but it is not. So ill, difficult, doctor are not really objects, as they help the verbs to complete what the verbs say about the subjects. They are called complements. Now these are complements of the verbs. All these verbs, looks, will be, become, are therefore intransitive. In order to find out whether a verb has an object or not, we have to do two things. First, we ask the question, like I told you earlier, what or whom after the verb. Now, if we do not get any answer, then we can straight away say that the verb is intransitive. If we get an answer, we have to look closely at the answer to see whether it tells us something about the subject itself. If it tells us something about the subject itself, then also it is intransitive. Or if it refers to somebody or something that is different and separate from the subject, that is translative. If it tells us something about the subject itself, it is not an object. So it refers to somebody or something that is separate or different from the subject, then it is an object and it becomes a translative verb. Next page. Note that when a verb tells us something is being done to a person or thing, the verb cannot have an object, for the simple reason that the subject does not act. Our meals are cooked by mother. The child was bitten by a snake. The car will be driven by Karim. Now in this sentence, the subjects are not doers. You see, our meals are not doers. They are not doing anything. The child was not doing anything. The car was not doing anything. Somebody was doing something to them. Mother was cooking it. The child was bitten by a snake. The car was being driven by Karim. So in these sentences, subjects are not doers. They do not do, have not done, or will not do anything. On the contrary, something is being done to them, right? Like the meals. Meals are being cooked by mother. The child was bitten by the snake. The car was driven by Karim. Now let's see here. If the subject does not act, its action cannot affect anybody or anything directly. Now the subject is not acting, the meals are not acting, the child is not acting, the car is not acting. Somebody is doing something there. So the verb cannot have an object. Therefore, sentences like we, w and x, the verbs are cooked, was bitten, or will be driven, cannot have an object. Now pick out the verbs from the following sentence. Okay, this I will give you in the answers. So let us forget about that answers. Let's go to next page. Direct and indirect objects. Some translated verbs can take two objects, a direct object and an indirect object. The students gave the teacher some flowers. Kitty wrote Veena a letter. A library lends people books. The explorer gave the zoo a rare bird that he had caught. Now, let us look at this. The students gave what? They gave flowers. The students gave whom? Gave the teacher. So the verb therefore has two objects, flowers and teacher. So the answer to what gives us the direct object? Flowers. The answer to what gives us the direct object is flowers. The answer to whom gives us the indirect object? To the teacher. So direct object was given flowers, it was given indirectly to the teacher. Or in other words, the thing that is given flowers is called the direct object. The person to whom it is given, teacher, is called the indirect object. Now Kitty wrote what? Kitty wrote a letter, direct object. Kitty wrote whom a letter? She wrote to Veena, indirect object. Here also the direct object is the thing written, letter. The indirect object is the person to whom it was written, Veena. Just like the flowers was the direct object and indirect object was the teacher. Now, a library lends what? Books, direct object, right? To whom? To people, indirect object. Note again that the direct object is the thing lent, books, and the indirect object is people, the persons to whom they are lent. Remember this. The direct object is usually a non-living thing. The indirect object is a person, animal, or living thing. However, there can be exceptions sometimes. Like here, the explorer gave the zoo a rare bird that he had caught. Here, bird is the living thing, is the direct object. Okay, he gave the zoo a bird, so that is a direct object, and zoo is a non-living thing, it's an indirect object. So sometimes there can be rare exceptions. Remember that when a verb has only one object, the term direct and indirect object are not used. We simply call one object the object. Now, these I will give you the answers later. I will write them, so we will not discuss them. So for today, it's so much. So translative and intranslative verb. So I wish you all the best for today, and in the next class I will send the answers. So have a great day.